Hi, this is number 18 in the Perio Patient Podcast. I'm Dr. Ben Young, and yesterday I talked about, or last time, it wasn't yesterday, last time I talked about 3 words, all starting with the word self, and I forgot one, and that is selfless. You know, if you're selfish, then that means that you're self-centered in a wrong way. We talked about self-centered as being not usable because sometimes it's good to be self-centered, centered in yourself, and other times it's not. So that's a difficult word. And then self-aware. Self-aware is stepping back and being aware of yourself and being able to step back and think about what it is you're thinking and feeling in sort of a separated way that helps you to navigate. But then there's another one, which is selfless. And a lot of people think that's a good thing. I want to be selfless. And my argument is that's impossible. And it's sort of a signal of wanting to be something that is good and laudable and that other people should admire us because we're being so selfless. And I think that's all kind of wrong. We need to be able to work out of who we are, and that's how we impact the world around us, is from who we are. And to become selfless is just not, it doesn't exist. We are somebody. So we'll throw that out. I wanted to do something on, and I will, about X-ray, but I'm working through the process of it because there's so much good stuff that's changed over my career, from the type of X-ray films that we used to do, and now we're doing it in a digital way, and that is reducing dramatically the radiation exposure, and now we're learning more about the actual problems of lead shielding that we didn't know about. And so as I'm just learning things myself, I want to come to you with a little more understanding myself before I talk to you about it. But X-ray is something that's important. It's something that we use for diagnostic purposes, and I want to explain to you how that is useful, but how it also has limitations, and therefore we need other things as well. And it's the combination of different ways of evaluating something that help us to come to some diagnosis or assessment that then we can figure out from there what to do, how to go forward. So since I'm not going to do that, let me just leave you with this. Are you familiar with the Serenity Prayer? People who are in recovery groups, 12-step programs, are very familiar with the Serenity Prayer, and you may have heard of people say it. And it is, and it's longer than the one I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you the brief version, and that is, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, when you think about that prayer, the serenity comes in knowing that you cannot do and change everything, but you have to have the courage to change the things you can. And as you look at that more and more, you begin to discover that the things that you really control and can change are yourself. It's things within yourself, and not all of it, and not quickly. That there are things that take time. I know from playing an instrument and practicing that there are things that the body requires, the brain and the nervous system require, of practice, where you started and you're not very good, and you leave after practicing and you're not very good, and you do that again the next day, and you do that again the next day, and down the road a little bit, you then become aware maybe suddenly that you're better than you were a week or so ago. But the process is slow, and also what's going on in our nervous system, our brain, chemical changes in our brain, is that different different ways in which brain signals are being sent into our brain are being altered while we're resting. That practicing involves both activity and rest, and you need both in order to grow in skills. That's true in dentistry. I mean, it's very frustrating at first trying to work with a little mirror in somebody's mouth and work with that mirror, seeing some image as a mirror image and knowing where you're supposed to be with a high-speed handpiece cutting tooth structure and things. That's very disturbing at first, and after a while your brain just picks it up, and it's like riding a bicycle or backing a car up or parallel parking. You eventually can do it, and it's not that big a deal because you've practiced it enough to where it's become more subconscious. You're not as focused on it all the time because you've developed those skills, those patterns. And so what we need to remind ourselves and others is be patient, take your time, do it as best you can, and understand that if you continue to try and you continue to practice regularly, you'll get it. It works with flossing. The biggest problem people have with flossing is they wrap it around the wrong fingers. They're cutting off the circulation on their first fingers. They can't get the floss all the way to the back of their mouths because they've blocked themselves. All you have to do is wrap the floss around your middle fingers, use your pointing fingers and thumb, and you can go all the way to the back. And so you have to learn the appropriate skills, and then you've got to practice it. And then over time it becomes easy. If you don't change to doing it in an easier handhold, you can become frustrated with flossing very quickly and give it all up. So again, grant us the serenity to accept the things we can't change. There's so much going on around us, even now in this COVID environment. We can't change it. So grant us serenity so we can accept that, but the courage to work on ourselves and change the things we can within ourselves. And that's the wisdom. The wisdom is to know what's the difference. What can I affect and what can't I affect? And that also takes time and practice. And we will get it wrong at times, but over enough time, maybe we'll get better. All right, that's all I've got. Have a good one.